Namaste. Somebody sent me a question on hollow back and arch back and the movement of the scapula. The scapula and the lats go very much together, and then it would also work into Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha. Okay, so I'm going to talk about all this in that position. And obviously this question just makes me think what these hollow back and arch back, how this actually helps your practice. Why would this be a question? And so it might be quite a long answer. Okay, so first, hollow body. Hollow body is very important. We often hear about banana back, especially in gymnastics terms. The kids mustn't banana when they handstand. Generally, the reason we do banana back is because the shoulders and the shoulders are closed and the lats are short. So let me explain that quickly. So hollow body position, I call it boat. It really, really resembles, there's your boat pose, Navasana, and there's your half boat pose. It really resembles half boat pose. Or if you've ever done Kundalini yoga, we call this the stretch pose. Now, the body position, arch back is like that, a banana back. A round back is like really there. And when you're sitting up straight, it's in between the two. But people often, myself included, that's why I know it, is they don't know what the lower pelvis is doing. Or the lower pelvis is not connecting, and that's the only connection your legs have to your torso, is right in the lower pelvis. So when you're doing your boat, so for example, we do Navasana and we try and lift on the sit bones, we're trying to get up tall, but so to get from boat or Navasana to Ardha Navasana, you work first with the pelvis, turn, lift the pelvis. So I teach it like this. You hold the legs, soften the shoulders. There's a bit of the retraction already that we're going to talk about. So the shoulders there is in protraction. Pushing your legs away from you will protract the shoulders, but feel how nice that is for the lower belly. Then hold the lower belly there and retract. So all you're really doing is lifting the heart and relaxing your shoulders. And the shoulder blades start to move back onto your back again. So now already I'm in a much more controlled feeling position in the front of my body into Navasana. So I'm not necessarily on my sit bones. And later on, as we get stronger, it will be able to move to the sit bones and not lose the belly. But for now, I'm just sitting a little bit back behind the sit bones to start the lift of your hip bones, to start to push the pelvis forward. You push it forward to come into the Navasana or the dish. Yeah, that's what we called it in gymnastics, the dish. It's a hollow body. Then you start working in that position. So so that's where you find the length in the shoulder blade. It's the length in the whole lat, taking you into that position there. Okay, really, really strong, pulling in the core, and it's pulling in and lengthening up and out. So yes, exactly that way, where your transverse muscles and your obliques and all these muscles are lengthening, rib cage, Uddiyana Bandha, going down and lifting up under the rib cage. Okay, so that's a hollow body position. So if you try it from here, you put your lower back on the floor, stretch your leg, and that will determine whether your stomach is actually strong enough to do it, because your pelvis is now in the right place, and your chest is down, ribs are down, and you can stretch your arms out. Then you start working towards the hip flexor nice and open, start working towards the shoulders open if you want, because that's really where you are. Preparation for handstands, Okay, let's talk about the arch back position. It's really a Salabhasana in yoga. Okay. The first thing is people often think up. So all you're doing is thinking up. So when you go there, arching, drawing the shoulder blades back and closing out the lungs. So I do make sure I feel the press through the legs, and again I'm doing that same thing in the pelvis. The Uddiyana Bandha, the lower rib cage comes down and the hips go forward, and you squeeze your bum and lift the legs. Okay, so you got really more glutes lifting the legs than lower back. So it is said that it strengthens your lower back. So I think of the lower bum muscles making a triangle into the center of your bum, and you're lifting the stomach muscles up off the floor and lengthening the feet. The big toes can pull away. Now I've got much more grip in the bum. Start lengthening through, so this is interesting. The shoulder blades will come back on your back, your ribs down, your tummy up, and you pull and you lengthen through. That's Salabhasana. I think in gymnastics they might do something like that. Or, yeah, they do exercises very, very good for the shoulders, just to lift. Kind of a physiotherapist exercise, that one. Okay, so again, I'm not thinking up, I'm thinking long. You see my pelvis pushes into the ground and lifting the tummy. Again, the same shape of lifting the hip bones. Same shape as hollow, we go into hold there, arch. And that works throughout, for me, everything I do in yoga. So let's start protraction and retraction. Protraction. And check in the description below, I'll put some exercises of other great guys that have done great work, and that actually that's their job. To drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Okay, so protraction is where the shoulder blades spread apart. Now we use that, but we don't ever, I find, I don't ever use it in isolation. I use it with the retraction. So retraction is where you draw the shoulder blades on the back. So the protraction, nice exercise here to see the shoulder is out, then drawing back, out, drawing down. And for me, the drawing down is not just a dropping of the shoulder, because then my back just kinks. So it's a drawing in, just the shoulder, thinking of the shoulder blade on your back, drawing into the center, into the center, into the center, like that. But I don't do it without the protraction. So protraction is there, then all I do, you can think of dialing out your hands or an outer rotation of your upper arm, also a lifting of your lat and a lifting of your armpit, and then putting the shoulder blade in the, because that's where I really want to do my push-ups. It's also where you want to have any elevation, like you going from Bakasana to handstand, you're going from anywhere you're lifting the body up and you're needing your shoulders to carry and bear the weight, you want that shoulder girdle to like stabilize. And it stabilizes by the protraction. I mean, just even take a back bend. We think, oh, back bend. And really, back bend is going to go pull back. So now I'm in protraction. Then I take the retraction without losing the feeling of the protraction. So my chest is back. That's really a lifted chest. And then I go into the back bend. So my shoulder blades are on the back, underneath on the shoulder blades, pushing the back up. Same as a lengthened arm back bend. You don't want to be too extended. Okay, you want to hug it in, lengthen it out, So there I'm elevating the shoulder, and then I'm going to not depress them by drawing them down, but bringing them down by doing the outer rotation and the retraction. So there, and then I draw the retraction down. So now, say you're doing Surya Namaskar, or just standing back bend or back drop, you're lifting from the pelvis, and then drawing the shoulder blades down, stretching out, and then opening the shoulders there. Or Kapotasana, anything there, the shoulder blades. So out first, protraction, then retraction without, and so the only way I do it, it's very simple, just do it without popping your rib cage. So you got the protraction, lifting the tummy, then you draw your shoulder blades back. There. So you'll notice there's a bit of an outer rotation, and the shoulder blade, sometimes the rhomboids are weak, the muscle between, and if they're weak, they're tight. You can just use 2 tennis balls, put it in a sock. You can put two harder balls, put it in a sock, and you roll them between your shoulder blades. You put them between the shoulder blades, that's where the rhomboids are, and you massage that part out. So I'm just going to do that quickly, and then you'll see my shoulders pop much better. Okay. You can do the standing up against a wall. Okay. Because I think that's also the tightness that causes the ribs then to pop instead of doing the back bend without. So again, I first make sure I've got the front of my body and the chest lifted. So that's not a lifted chest, that's actually a drop chest. Let me quickly explain that. So we're going into a handstand, and if I say to you, lift your chest, okay, before we do handstand, I say to you, lift your chest. So people do things like, oh, great, I'm lifting my chest. Now watch it in a handstand is if I drop my chest, which was the lift that I thought before, it's going to arch and it's not going to lift up. But now comes the protraction. You're pushing out. Then, leaning into your hands, you rotate, you get the shoulder girdle strong with the outer rotation and the retraction, and that will depress the shoulder again. So if you watch, sometimes we have a down dog like that with the elevated shoulder blades. I don't want to just drop them because that made my back drop. Okay, so I'm going to lengthen, bring my chest up. Now you see it. This is actually lifting my chest up. And then bring the shoulder blades on the back, pressing and strengthening. And that made the space between my ear and the shoulder open up again. That brought the shoulder down, not trying to push it down in any way. Lifting, wrapping. You wrap it around from the back so that you're hugging into the center line. And that is where the handstand will happen. It really is back to your hollow body position. Stretching, hugging, and strengthening in the shoulder girdle from the pelvis. But I think for now, I've answered the question. I think. Good. I hope so. Thank you for watching. Namaste.